we're the drones group. Okay, so drones, the technical term for it is unmanned aerial vehicle, or UAV. It's just a broad term for any type of aircraft without humans controlling them. That would include unmanned crop dusters as well as those used for personal reasons. The first drone used for military purpose was the MQ-1 Predator. It was used for the Nieto intervention in Bosnia in 1995 for reconnaissance missions only. However, the first drone used in actual combat that actually fired missiles was the Predator number 3034. It was tested in February 26, 2001, and it was used immediately after the September 11th attacks in Afghanistan on October 7th, 2001. These drones are primarily used in Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia, but they are also used in Libya, Afghanistan, and Iraq. There has been an estimated 4,700 casualties in just Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia, and there has been estimated between 276 and 368 civilian casualties. And on just kind of a side note, there has been at least 4 Americans killed, but that number could be higher just in all drone attacks. Okay, so and then just for the process used for these drone attacks through the government is they use this thing called a disposition matrix. The disposition matrix is a single continually evolving database which biographies, locations, known associates, and affiliates and affiliated organizations are all cataloged. The database is meant to map out contingencies, creating an operational menu that spells out each agency's role in case a suspect surfaces in an unexpected spot. Okay, then this list is created by the National Counterterrorism Center. This list is created by the National Counterterrorism Center, and then it's forwarded to the National Security Council, headed by John Brennan, who approves that list, and then it is finally approved by President Obama. This list is reviewed every 3 months by intelligence analysts and military officials. The criteria is 4 additions to the list are determined by Obama, who personally must approve any outside strike outside of Pakistan. Pakistan strikes are approved by the CIA director. Next. Okay, so now for the ethical dilemma. So as informed citizens in a generation that will be directly influenced by the use of drones at home and abroad, it is our duty to question what kind of world we want to live in, not only for ourselves, but for our neighbors as well in an increasingly globally connected society. The U.S. media has largely focused on the technical advances of drones, diplomatic intrigue, and legality. However, we must ask important questions in regards to the type of world we want to live in, as well as empathize with those that are currently living under them. Such questions would include, are we creating conditions of insecurity in other countries when individuals constantly live in fear of the drones raining bombs on them? And then, is it fair to search for security for ourselves at the expense of others? And are the drones really our best alternative for the welfare of everyone?
All right, now we're going to move into the advantages of using drones. The operators using the drones can view the targets hours or days even in advance of strikes that they make, which makes it obviously more it makes it better for our military because we can see the terrorists. And speaking of terrorists, we can identify terrorists more accurately than the troops or pilots, like human beings, because we can fly in closer without the scarcity of dying, and we can just be in the air longer than a pilot could. We can time strikes when innocent civilians aren't around. So like if children are running around and we don't want to strike when the kids are out, then we can time that with our drones. We can even divert the missiles from the drones, so that if we do send a strike and then a kid does come wandering by or a family decides to come out or something, then we can make the missile go a different direction. The morality in using drones, positive morality, there's actually a decrease in the innocent lives lost. There still have been lives lost, obviously, but it has gone down with the use of drones compared to the use of pilots or ground troops. And then compared to like the bombings on Dresden and Hiroshima of World War II, if you do like in comparison to that, to the innocent lives lost from drones, it's a much more depleted amount, which is what we're striving for, is that you want less innocent lives lost than more innocent lives lost. And so using drones decreases that, and we're moving towards not only a less destructive method of attacks, but also a more precise one with being able to target things more accurately. And then there have been soldiers' opinions on it. It keeps the pilots safe, so obviously they can go home and have a meal with their family, and they can be close to their friends and have a life outside of war while still going to work and operating these things and protecting. And then the drone participation is very important since they started using them. There's obviously the increased accuracy in the strikes, but most importantly it keeps the ground troops safe. And so yeah, that's what we got. Then move on to the video.
Alright, right here we have some videos to add in, but we're not playing them because we're finalizing them. Alright, there are many different aspects of drone usage where there seems to be gray areas. We agree that at first glance it looks like the usage of drones would be good for the safety of our nation, but our research has shown that the underlying negative aspects heavily outweigh the positives. There's a great debate on whether or not drone strikes should be a core component of the U.S.'s counterterrorism strategy. Many people argue that these strikes should be eliminated from our arsenal because of how they are used to attack people who seem like terrorists. When our government looks at these potential threats, they classify them as signature strikes, or people who match a predetermined signature behavior that the U.S. then links to militia activity. The problem with this is that we are targeting people who look like terrorists whether or not they truly are. As these strikes are carried out against possible threats, they end up opening the door for a much higher chance of civilian casualties, which is where the danger truly lies. The technique of signature strikes is based on choosing targets based off their association with others or their suspicious activity, which does not follow the guidelines set by the Obama administration on when drone strikes are allowed. Pause. Right here we have two more videos that we're going to add in, and these videos show that there are no set in stone rules for when drone strikes are acceptable, making it so that Obama can use them as he wishes. Because of this, many critics have become enraged with how Obama is not following his own set of rules. As a result, Obama recently outlined his counterterrorism policy by stating that the U.S. will only act against terrorists who pose a continuing and imminent threat to the American people, and where there are no other governments capable of effectively addressing the threat. While this speech sounds good in theory, Obama is directly contradicting rules set forth by international law when individuals are targeted simply based on suspicious activity. International law is a body of rules that are established by custom or treaty that are recognized by nations as binding in their relationships with one another. With regards to drones, this means that you can only attack an individual if they pose a direct and imminent threat to the immediate well-being of your country. Obama also failed to ensure the people that signature strikes would not be used in the future. These strikes, like strikes in Pakistan and Afghanistan, have increased the percentage of uprisings in the U.S. from 64% before drone usage to 74% after the drones were implemented. This shows that using drones against our enemies is only creating more people who resent the U.S.'s power. Moving past signature strikes, another question to ask is whether or not the current drone program is achieving our national security objectives. More than 30 foreign policy experts have met with Obama in the past year calling for an end to the current drone strategy. These experts argue that by attacking our enemies without their knowledge, we're going to create more people who disagree with the U.S. techniques. Even senior military member General Stanley McChrystal believes that drone strikes are counterproductive because of the blowback they have on the local population of the U.S. Overall, the current drone program undermines the long-term national security of the U.S. by creating more of an uprising from our enemies.
Okay, so the Brave New Foundation went to Pakistan in 2012 in 2 different investigation missions, and they came back with a lot of information that the American government has not addressed at all about drone strikes. So since 2004, there has been around 3,300 people killed by drone strikes, and they thought in 2012 that approximately 166 of them were children. These drone strikes produce harm to the daily lives of the civilians because they are scared that any of these strikes will just happen in really weird times. They are not even sending their children to schools because they fear that even schools will get attacked. Even their families, like when they lose people or have injured family members, they have a lot of property damage and then financial problems as well, because these are really poor people that can't even afford to rebuild a new house or to pay for all the medical bills that they have to go through with all their family members that are innocent victims from these strikes. And they also reported that a lot of people is showing emotional traumas, like fear, anxiety, and stress, because they are just worried that at any moment, even during holidays or important gatherings that they have to do due to their culture, they are just gonna be attacked by a drone. And then we have another video showing after this, and